Have you ever felt it? That creeping doubt. The quiet question of whether any of this truly matters. You walk. You sit in silence. You choose health over impulse. Yet the dawn breaks, and the world seems stubbornly unchanged. Nothing, it appears, has shifted. You find yourself wondering, is this all a futile dance? The profound truth, often obscured, is this. Reality does not register transformation by speed. It attunes to signal strength. Every deliberate action, every microscopic choice, aligning you with your deepest self, broadcasts energetic waves throughout your entire system. This quantum ripple effect occurs whether your conscious mind perceives it or not. Nothing you do exists in isolation. Each decision, no matter how insignificant it seems, unleashes a cascade of energetic outcomes. These aren't merely personal. They are frequency-based blueprints, subtly shaping your future. The connections you'll forge, the circumstances that will intricately weave into your path in ways your logical mind cannot begin to chart. It's the neuroplasticity of the universe, constantly rewiring itself in response to your vibrational input. Picture a vast, utterly still lake. You release a single, almost weightless stone into its surface. Observe. Ripples expand silently, outward, in every direction. You cannot dictate their journey. They travel. They touch everything. This is precisely what transpires each time you make a choice that resonates with the person you are becoming. However subtle, one conscious breath, a single moment of gratitude inscribed, a pause before you react, a boundary honored. The cosmos isn't measuring the grandeur of your action. It is registering the precise, energetic signature it emanates. Most often, people miss this. The field is never unresponsive. It is merely mirroring the frequency you transmit. And critically, the steadiness of that frequency. This isn't about the intensity of your efforts, but their coherence. It's never one isolated decision to nourish your body that rewires your biology. It's the consistent wave pattern generated when you repeat that choice. Infuse it with belief, and bring your full awareness to it. Over time, these individual wave patterns converge, constructing a powerful current that lifts you into a version of reality, unattainable through sheer force alone. Let's ground this concept. Tomorrow morning, you choose, not with theatrical drama, nor with grand ceremony, but with quiet intention, to spend 3 minutes in stillness before your day unfurls. Not to achieve instant enlightenment, nor to summon material abundance, but simply to meet yourself in the present moment. That subtle choice generates a ripple. Your day begins imbued with a fraction more groundedness. Perhaps you bypass an outburst you might typically have. Perhaps a more nourishing breakfast becomes appealing. That nascent clarity might then extend into your work. Suddenly, an insight emerges. You dispatch that message you've been deferring. A response arrives. A pathway opens. None of this was discernible from your starting point. It didn't appear as though your future was actively shifting. But it was. This is the profound paradox. The most monumental transformations often cloak themselves in the guise of the smallest actions. When these actions are repeated with unwavering presence, they fundamentally reshape your communication with the field. And the field, infinitely intelligent, perpetually receptive, begins to reorganize itself around your newly broadcast signal. We have been conditioned to believe that change arrives through dramatic leaps, through monumental decisions, or through crisis-induced breakthroughs. But quantum reality operates beyond theatrics. It functions in the subtle realm of vibration, in precise calibration, in the quiet selection of a different timeline long before any tangible evidence confirms its unfolding. This is the true nature of habits. They are not mechanical routines or productivity hacks. They are daily declarations of your being. They are your chosen method of communicating to the quantum field the identity you have embraced. And when you maintain that signal with sufficient consistency, reality itself begins to collapse into alignment. This is why nothing is ever truly lost. Not a single breath, not one conscious step, not a microsecond of alignment. Each is a stone, each a ripple, each meticulously sculpting a magnificent lake your eyes have yet to perceive. The genuine shift emerges when you relinquish the demand for immediate validation and instead surrender to the quantum principle of accumulating vibration. Eventually, those ripples amplify into a wave powerful enough to carry you beyond the version of reality you once believed you were trapped within. The profound challenge is our deep unconsciousness, a collective sleepwalking through life until dissatisfaction accumulates into an unbearable weight, signaling a stalled evolution, a soul-deep yearning for liberation in the unseen tapestry of daily existence. How you tend to yourself in the morning, how you orient your being before the world demands your attention. Yet, from a quantum perspective, they are seismic. Every seemingly insignificant behavior is a transmission, and the field receives it, even when your conscious mind is unaware. Modern science might term this habit stacking or behavioral anchoring. In the quantum dimension, we understand it as vibrational sequencing, the intricate, invisible network of micro-choices that either steer you into coherence or pull you towards disorder. This alignment or misalignment accumulates over time, not through dramatic explosions, but through subtle, almost imperceptible layers. They are happening through you, as direct, tangible projections of your internal programming. You whisper a kind truth to yourself. Today, I align with what is real. You drink your water with purpose. You attune to your inner landscape rather than external clamor. In that simple adjustment, you have altered your trajectory, not merely emotionally, but energetically. The ripple you just initiated won't simply enhance your morning. It might reshape an entire opportunity 5 days from now. You have subtly modified a timeline without forcing anything. You have engaged the quantum butterfly effect, and it began with the conscious entry into your routine. I invite you. What small morning ritual have you considered starting, or what existing practice has shifted something for you? Share it. Your words might be the permission someone else needs to initiate their own ripple. What truly complicates our journey is the persuasive power of superficial differences. Technically, you transitioned careers. You encountered someone new. You initiated with sincere intentions for profound transformation. Yet, weeks or months later, the environment feels strangely recognizable, an unsettling déjà vu that whispers of an unescapable fate. It resembles refreshing the walls of a room without ever rearranging anything inside. The appearance seems renewed, yet you occupy the identical, restricted space. Or how abandoning your journaling makes you more reactive in conversations. These are not random occurrences. They are energetic chain reactions. Your system attempts to regulate from a diminished frequency, compensating through fragmented behaviors. The reality is this: there is no isolated habit. Every action influences another. Every vibration weaves itself into what follows. Every choice becomes an energetic tuning fork for the field you are about to enter. The concept of subtle moments carrying deeper significance is not new. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, extensively explored what he termed synchronicity, the way existence weaves together seemingly disconnected circumstances or sequences that, at a deeper level, possess an undeniable, meaningful connection. You might understand it as existence's profound method of whispering, "Pay attention." It signals that specific pathways, individuals, or possibilities hold far more weight than they initially appear. When it carries presence, the field reflects clarity. This isn't spiritual consequence. It is a fundamental principle of physics. None of this demands flawless mornings. You don't need hour-long meditations in serene nature, elaborate wellness rituals, or exotic supplements. What you require is conscious entry into the field of your own existence. And that can transpire in 30 seconds. One breath, one truthful statement, and the accumulation effect. That is where transformation unfurls. That single moment of morning presence renders you marginally more aware during your next meal. You are not fighting a simple habit. You are contending with a distributed intelligence woven throughout your entire physical and energetic structure. Signs are almost always whispers initially. They invite you to lean closer, to cultivate a profound observation, to trust the subtle, persistent repetition of messages you cannot seem to avoid. Breaking free from these deep currents demands more than mere personal determination. It requires a conscious separation from these collective fields and an intentional tuning into alternative frequencies. Frequencies perhaps less densely populated, but vibrationally aligned with your emerging, authentic self. Consider the individual perpetually trapped in professional dissatisfaction. They endlessly migrate between positions, convincing themselves a different environment, a new supervisor, or a better salary will resolve everything. Yet, invariably, they land in identical emotional territories, discontented with colleagues, uninspired by responsibilities, frustrated by demands. The setting transforms, but the foundational perspective, the underlying mindset, directing their decisions, remains unaltered. This is where your intuition, your inner compass, amplifies, guiding you gently yet powerfully, preparing your entire being for the visible breakthrough that is already moving towards you, an inevitability. The physics governing this process mirrors principles we observe in quantum experimentation. Just as particles entangled at the quantum level instantaneously affect each other, regardless of physical distance, your consciousness remains entangled with specific experience patterns across the probability spectrum. Until this entanglement is consciously dissolved, no amount of external change can prevent the manifestation of matched frequency outcomes. What makes this mechanism particularly challenging to transcend is the subconscious comfort derived from pattern familiarity. Even discomfort, when familiar, provides a strange, perverse security. The known pain becomes preferable to the exhilarating, yet terrifying unknown potential of liberation, creating a perverse incentive to maintain patterns that consciously you claim to want released. We tend to categorize miracles as large-scale events, breakthrough opportunities, dramatic interventions, or life-altering conversations. And while those manifestations certainly occur, they typically begin in a far more understated, internal way. Intuition strengthens, clarifies, and guides before physical circumstances fully reflect the impending change. It is profoundly similar to your internal navigation system recalibrating. You don't yet see the complete route, but you inherently sense your trajectory is shifting, heading in a decisively new direction. You anticipate dialogue before it's spoken, wondering how you missed the familiarity immediately. That's precisely how life patterns function. You are convinced you've encountered something novel because the specifics differ, but the underlying narrative, the energetic signature, remains unchanged. Disappointment, often a powerful catalyst, arrives when you recognize your destination once again. The intelligence of this patterning system is both fascinating and humbling. At a quantum level, your consciousness is conducting billions of calculations per second, analyzing probabilities, and orchestrating circumstances with breathtaking precision to maintain coherence with your dominant vibrational signature. The universe isn't random. It's responding to you with impeccable accuracy. The problem isn't that manifestation doesn't work. It's that it works perfectly, giving you exactly what your total energetic broadcast requests, rather than what your conscious mind merely wishes for. Awaken to this divine precision and reclaim your cosmic authorship. Time, in its conventional linearity, is often a grand illusion, a construct of our human perception. From a quantum vantage, you navigate not a straight path, but a vast, intricate spiral, continuously cycling through frequency bands, each offering a specific range of probable experiences. When your consciousness anchors itself to a particular frequency, the illusion of time passing creates the appearance of different events, while energetically, you are revisiting variations of the same probability cluster. This profound insight illuminates the uncanny déjà vu that so often accompanies pattern recognition. Your higher consciousness perceives the frequency repetition beneath the illusory novelty, sensing the deeper current. The emotional signature clinging to these patterns reveals their deeper purpose. They are unprocessed energies, unresolved feelings, seeking resolution. This pattern will relentlessly manifest, like a persistent echo, until that emotional charge finds completion through conscious integration. From this enlightened perspective, life is not merely happening to you as a passive recipient. It is profoundly happening for you, creating consistent, divinely timed opportunities to resolve what remains unprocessed within your energetic field. That sudden, inexplicable peace became his compass, directing him with silent precision. He understood later that this profound clarity arrived before the opportunities physically manifested. It is comparable to how your vehicle's navigation system functions. When you miss a turn, the system doesn't spiral into panic or judgment. It quietly, efficiently recalculates in the background. You don't see the adjusted directions until they are fully prepared, but the computational shift is processing the entire time. In precisely the same way, your spirit recalculates and realigns long before your physical eyes can witness the empirical evidence. These channels deepen with use, creating paths of least resistance for both thought and manifestation. What begins as conscious choice eventually solidifies into subconscious automation, and ultimately, what feels like an unchangeable external fate. Even scientific research acknowledges a profound mechanism at play here. Neuroscience unequivocally demonstrates that your brain accesses its most profound clarity when it transitions out of a chronic stress response and into a state of calm, expansive awareness. It is in that more peaceful, coherent mental state that decisions crystallize, insights become luminous, and direction becomes effortlessly obvious. So when peace suddenly replaces panic, it is far from coincidental. These energy centers don't just respond to your experiences, they actively create them through their broadcast frequencies, much like a radio transmitter. Epigenetic research adds yet another dimension to this understanding. Your genetic expression continuously adjusts in dynamic response to your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, literally changing how your DNA expresses itself based on your conscious and subconscious programming. These modifications can persist across generations, explaining how familial patterns and predispositions transfer energetically beyond simple behavioral modeling. You are not just changing your neural pathways when you transform a pattern. You are potentially altering genetic expression that influences your cellular function and even impacts future generations, becoming an ancestor who breaks the chain. Then, there exists one decisive, epical moment. The instant of genuine recognition. The pause where awareness emerges. That sudden flash of insight. That internal whisper, "Hold on." This consistently concludes similarly, doesn't it? That awareness is far from insignificant. It represents the inaugural fracture in the pattern. The first crucial moment your internal framework hesitates, even momentarily. This moment of pattern recognition represents a quantum inflection point. A brief, potent window where probability fields destabilize, creating an unparalleled opportunity for consciousness to redirect energetic flow. Scientists studying phase transitions call this a critical fluctuation, that precise moment when a system becomes susceptible to fundamental, systemic reorganization. In terms of consciousness, it's when your awareness temporarily disengages from automatic functioning, creating sacred space for something entirely new to enter, to be born. The bioelectrical dimension of this moment is equally significant. Your brain literally produces different wavelengths when pattern recognition occurs. You shift from the rapid beta waves of automatic functioning to momentary alpha or even theta states, more receptive, fluid brain frequencies, where profound rewriting becomes possible. This neurological shift creates a corresponding opening in your electromagnetic field, allowing new information and possibilities to penetrate defenses that normally filter them out. Before we delve deeper, I invite you to a powerful act of co-creation. Take a moment right now and declare, with full intention, in the comments below, this exact phrase: I am ready to receive what's already mine. This is not mere engagement. This is you making an energetic declaration to the universal field, a conscious interruption in old patterns. You are signaling to the cosmos, and crucially, to yourself, that you are no longer passively waiting. You are claiming your sovereign space in what is unfolding. Let that declaration anchor itself as a new energetic signature in your reality. Now, here's what profoundly shifts when you begin operating from this place of inner knowing. Your external reality begins to respond differently, not because you are forcing anything, but because you have fundamentally shifted the frequency you are broadcasting. Think of it like tuning a sophisticated radio. When you are steeped in fear, doubt, and resistance, you are tuned to a station that plays only static and dissonant noise. But when you consciously shift into that calm certainty, into that peace that defies external circumstances, you are tuning into a completely different frequency. And here's the most unexpected revelation, one that people frequently overlook. The mere existence of patterns does not indicate failure. What if these recurring echoes are not mistakes, but profound signals? What if every repeated outcome isn't a cosmic punishment, but a divine notification? At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of potentiality until they are observed. The act of observation, of focused awareness and intention, collapses the wave function, bringing one specific reality into tangible form. Your consciousness is not passive. It is inherently participatory. You are not merely watching reality unfold. You are actively collapsing probabilities into actualities through where you place your attention, and more profoundly, through the specific frequency you are holding. Most people are collapsing probabilities, unconsciously. That fundamental shift softens the recurring dissonance and transforms it into undeniable guidance, a compass pointing you toward your highest truth. This perspective radically inverts conventional wisdom about patterns and suffering. Most spiritual traditions and psychological frameworks often position repetitive patterns as either karmic burdens to be endured or psychological dysfunctions to be overcome. But quantum consciousness reveals a far more sophisticated truth. These patterns are, in fact, exquisitely designed evolutionary mechanisms, meticulously crafted by your higher awareness to catalyze your profound growth. The discomfort they generate isn't punitive. It is purposeful friction, the necessary resistance against which consciousness builds unparalleled strength, clarity, and resilience. Consider how magnificent diamonds form, not through ease, but through intense, sustained pressure applied to carbon over eons. Your recurring patterns create precisely calibrated pressure on specific aspects of your consciousness, transforming undeveloped potential into crystallized awareness, into embodied wisdom. Without this crucible of pressure, certain realizations would remain forever theoretical rather than deeply integrated, lived wisdom. The discomfort is not accidental. It is intelligently designed to be exactly intense enough to prompt evolution without overwhelming your system's capacity to integrate the lesson. The timing of these patterns reveals a further, profound intelligence woven into the fabric of your life. Have you noticed how certain themes reappear in cyclical fashion throughout your life, often at higher octaves of understanding? These cycles often follow mathematical precision, corresponding to significant astrological transits, cosmic alignments, or even biorhythmic fluctuations. A pattern that appeared at age 7 might resurface at 14, 21, 28, each time at a higher octave of understanding, offering a renewed opportunity to resolve it from a more expanded, conscious perspective. This spiral progression isn't random chaos. It follows a cosmic timing aligned with your soul's unique evolutionary blueprint, a sacred dance between free will and divine design. Recognizing the pattern is merely the initiation of the process. You were taught that life is supposed to be hard, a perpetual struggle. You were taught that you have to earn love, earn abundance, earn peace, and those pervasive teachings created interference patterns, energetic blocks, in your natural, effortless flow. It's akin to trying to dam a powerful river. The water, the force, is still undeniably present. But now, it meets resistance. That resistance creates pressure, and that pressure is precisely what most people experience as their normal state of being, a perpetual tension. This transition phase, between initial pattern recognition and full realignment, follows quantum principles that beautifully defy conventional cause and effect understanding. Rather than linear, gradual progress, you often experience quantum jumping, discontinuous shifts, where entire aspects of your reality transform, not through incremental change, but through sudden, profound phase transitions. You don't slowly evolve into new circumstances. You quantum tunnel between probable realities, sometimes experiencing changes that appear to violate traditional physics, leaving you in awe. These transitional phases often manifest as a temporary intensification, what spiritual traditions profoundly term the dark night of the soul, or what quantum physics might describe as a necessary energy reorganization through chaos dynamics. The pattern may briefly amplify, becoming more prominent, more challenging, just before dissolving, creating the paradoxical experience of things seemingly getting worse just before a profound breakthrough occurs. This intensification isn't regression, it is compression, the necessary concentration of energy required to catalyze a systemic phase transition. During these potent transition states, your neurochemistry undergoes substantial recalibration. Receptor sites for crucial neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin literally change their sensitivity and distribution, fundamentally altering how you process reality at the most primal biological level. This explains the often unusual emotional states that accompany major breakthroughs, periods of inexplicable sadness, profound euphoria, or detached neutrality, signaling neurological rewiring rather than mere reactions to external circumstances. Embrace this dynamic, for it is the universe preparing you for a magnificent leap into your true potential. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the tiniest things show up in your life and they just feel different? A friend you haven't spoken to in years suddenly reestablishes contact, a forgotten bond rekindled. You encounter an unexpected opportunity precisely when you're prepared for it, even if you weren't consciously aware of your readiness. Or perhaps you awaken with an inexplicable surge of vitality, a profound wellspring of energy that seems disconnected from the ordinary concerns of the previous day. These are not necessarily dramatic, revelatory moments that announce themselves with fanfare. Often, they arrive as gentle nudges, quiet reminders from the universe that something profound within you is shifting, and the external world is beginning to reflect this internal transformation with exquisite accuracy. The physics behind these synchronistic events involves non-local quantum entanglement, the extraordinary phenomenon where particles, once connected, instantaneously influence each other, regardless of physical distance. Your consciousness exists not merely as a localized entity, but as a vast quantum field that extends far beyond your physical form, continuously entangling with probability fields of people, opportunities, and circumstances resonant with your emerging frequency. Now, let's go even deeper into the specific patterns that meticulously play out in the days and weeks immediately preceding a miracle's manifestation. There's an unmistakable sequence, and once you recognize it, you will never miss it again. First, there is often what feels like a profound stripping away. Old connections begin to fade, no longer resonating. Old routines cease to serve, feeling hollow. Old identities no longer fit, like outgrown garments. This phase can evoke a deep sense of loss, as if something is profoundly going wrong. But what is actually happening is this. You are being meticulously cleared to energetically match the higher frequency of what is coming. You simply cannot carry old energetic baggage into a new, expanded reality. The universe is not cruel. It is exquisitely precise. It lovingly, yet firmly, removes what no longer serves before it delivers what genuinely does. This stripping away phase can be deeply uncomfortable, precisely because your ego often interprets it as monumental failure or painful rejection. A friendship that once felt essential suddenly feels forced, draining your energy. A profound challenge persists: how rapidly people dismiss these subtle truths. We are conditioned to believe fortune occurs haphazardly, subject to external forces. So, when an improved day manifests or an unexpected introduction occurs, dismissing it as mere coincidence comes naturally, a convenient cognitive shortcut. But truthfully, these subtle signals are far from arbitrary. They are intrinsically connected to the delicate, powerful transformations underway in who you are becoming. It's simply that most of humanity pursues life's more substantial, externally quantifiable indicators: new positions, increased income, dramatic milestones, overlooking the quiet yet undeniable evidence demonstrating deeper, more significant transformation underway. This widespread dismissal stems from a pervasive cultural programming that privileges dramatic external validation over subtle, profound internal knowing. From earliest childhood, we are conditioned by our educational systems to trust external authorities, to memorize external information, often actively discouraging intuitive knowledge. Our medical systems prioritize technological measurements over the innate wisdom of the body. Religious hierarchies position divine connection as requiring intermediaries rather than direct, personal perception. This systematic disconnection from internal guidance creates a profound distrust of subtle alignment signals, rendering us functionally deaf to the universe's most vital messages. Second, there is a heightened sensitivity. You might find yourself more emotionally attuned than usual, more profoundly intuitive, more acutely aware of subtle energetic currents around you. This is not weakness. This is your entire system undergoing a powerful upgrade. Your nervous system is becoming more refined, more exquisitely attuned, more capable of processing higher frequencies of vital information. You are quite literally expanding your inherent capacity to receive the vastness of your new reality. This heightened sensitivity means you might find yourself weeping more easily, feeling deeply overwhelmed in crowded spaces, or needing significantly more time alone in quietude. You might feel an undeniable pull towards nature, towards profound silence, towards stillness. And again, your conditioned mind might judge this as something being fundamentally wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. You are recalibrating. Retuning your internal instrumentation, the subtle feelings, the quiet synchronicities, the inner energy shifts you experience are your conscious perception of those probability waves, beginning to organize around new patterns before they fully materialize into tangible reality. Those who dismiss these subtle indicators are essentially ignoring the quantum blueprint of what is actively forming around them. Turning away from the nascent reality their consciousness is meticulously weaving. You are more powerful than you know. Dare to perceive the unseen and step into the conscious creation of your world. Consider a seemingly minor decision, someone choosing to reduce their evening screen engagement. Superficially, it's a small action, seemingly inconsequential. Yet, within days, they notice something unexpected. Their sleep profoundly improves. Mornings feel lighter, and they rediscover abandoned pastimes like musical instruments, artistic expression, or reflective writing previously neglected in the digital haze. That minor disruption in routine doesn't merely change a habit. It begins accessing dormant, authentic aspects of identity. And before conscious recognition fully occurs, this single adjustment signals the entire system, opening fresh connections and possibilities in a powerful cascade effect. This demonstrates quantum entanglement at an experiential level. The single decision to reduce screen time wasn't merely about altering one behavior. It represented a vibrational shift that simultaneously affected multiple entangled systems: sleep quality, creative expression, mental clarity, and social dynamics, all transformed, not as sequential cause and effect, but as simultaneous adjustments across a unified, entangled consciousness field. The biological mechanism behind this ripple effect involves what neuroscientists call neural pruning and sprouting. When you interrupt a habitual neural pathway, like the unconscious reach for your phone, you not only weaken that specific pathway, but simultaneously create fertile conditions for new, more adaptive neural connections to form. Your brain, operating according to quantum principles of dynamic reorganization, doesn't simply stop one behavior. It actively redistributes that energetic flow into new, coherent channels. And in that rich betweenness, they had unparalleled access to insights and wisdom that simply isn't available in the perceived stability of either side. Our modern world, regrettably, has lost this deep respect for liminal space. We are relentlessly taught to always know who we are, to always have a meticulously defined plan, to always be certain. But certainty, in its rigid form, is often just another word for stagnation. The new activities, inspirations, and opportunities weren't created by the behavior change. They were quantum possibilities, always present in the field of potential, but only accessible from specific consciousness frequencies, now brought into manifest form. The most effective visualization for understanding this profound process resembles mechanical gears. For ages, you've rotated the handle of your life, feeling only slippage, no traction, regardless of the energy invested. Progress stalled, and frustration mounted. Then suddenly, almost imperceptibly, those gears engage. The identical motion, repeated endlessly before without result, suddenly gains purchase. Momentum builds with incredible force, and the entire mechanism begins resonating with vitality and effortless flow. The difference between stuck energy and flowing alignment, though appearing subtle externally, internally transforms everything with monumental impact. This mechanical metaphor elegantly captures the essence of the quantum phase transition that occurs in consciousness. In quantum systems, phase transitions do not happen gradually. They occur abruptly, through critical thresholds, where the entire system suddenly reorganizes itself according to new operating principles. Think of water turning to ice. It doesn't become incrementally more solid as temperature drops. It remains entirely liquid until a precise, critical threshold, at which point a crystalline structure suddenly emerges across the entire system simultaneously. Your consciousness operates, by identical principles, during alignment shifts. You might work diligently for months or even years with minimal visible progress, unknowingly approaching a critical threshold, accumulating invisible energy. Then suddenly, with one more consistent action, seemingly no different from hundreds before it, the entire system reorganizes. This explains why breakthrough often feels unearned, mysterious, or strangely timed. You weren't perceiving the invisible accumulation approaching the threshold, only the dramatic, instantaneous phase shift. Once that threshold was crossed, the energetic physics behind this phenomenon involves what quantum theorists call coherence domains. These are regions where previously random or chaotic energy patterns suddenly synchronize into coherent, organized states. When this coherence reaches a critical threshold, it can trigger spontaneous phase locking across the entire system, an instantaneous, harmonious reorganization. This coherence amplification explains why, once true alignment begins, it often accelerates exponentially rather than linearly, creating rapid, sweeping transformation that seems to violate conventional understandings of cause and effect. The call to action is clear. You are not a passive observer of a fixed reality, but an active participant in a dynamic, quantum creation. Recognize the patterns. Embrace the purposeful discomfort of evolution. and dare to engage with the universe's profound intelligence. This journey is a testament to your infinite capacity for transformation, a continuous, magnificent dance between the known and the emerging. Step into your power, for the cosmos eagerly awaits your conscious, deliberate participation in its grand design.